We want you to enjoy your experiences of high school. And we know that if you understand what you see going on that field on Friday nights, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. Last week we covered RPO and spread offenses, two very popular offenses. But this week, that's right, we're covering the air raid offense. So let's get to it.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This with I guess we're going to call it the Dale and Jim show. We've been meeting every
Jim and
Wednesday.
Dale. Jim and Dale.
Jim and Dale. Okay, sounds like Chip and Dale, but anyway, Jim and the Jim and Dale show at 7 o'clock. We just got guys. We just got done with right down the middle of the season. There's 11 weeks. We just got done with week 6. We only have 5 more weeks of regular. I think that's or 4. Was it 4 weeks? Got 4 weeks left, don't we? No, 5 weeks. That's right. I got 8.
5 weeks.
Yeah. So we're just right there. We're about to get to the very end. The end of the month is be the last week of the season. So anyway, guys, I'm going to start out with Coach Trotter. Coach Trotter, I'm going to leave it to you. You got a lot to talk about. We wanted to go ahead and be very cognizant of your family time. So, Coach Trotter,
appreciate it, guys. So, we talked about trying to do a little segment and doing some, talking about some different subjects. And Jim, you got me thinking, asking about different offenses I've ran in the past and things I'd want to do. And Dale talking about, let's talk about some different position-specific requirements. So I was like, why don't we just combine it? Let's pick an offense or defensive scheme. Let's do a quick little, overview of it. We're not going to do a full deep dive. We don't have full, time for all that. But pick a couple concepts from, let's say, an offense. Let's talk about what the offense's philosophies are, what they're looking for in their players, to best fit that scheme. Some schemes kind of require certain positions and certain characteristics from those positions. And so I thought, let's start with one that I think a lot of people like and enjoy. And you kind of see that's, all over the place now. It's even in the NFL kind of full-time, granted a little bit different from its purest form. But let's talk a little air raid today. A lot of area schools are running it. A lot of guys having a lot of success with it. So let me get down here. Let's see if I can remember how to share this screen again. And let's go entire screen. All right. And if you guys can see this, y'all let me know.
All right. I've just turned it on.
I can see it.
Yep.
Got Hal Mummy and then Mike Leach there back in their Kentucky days.
That's right.
All right, so that's your two kind of the godfathers of the air raid. Granted, if you get into it deep, I mean, they stole stuff from BYU and the run and shoot and some West Coast stuff. But there only left Hal Mummy, then Coach Mike Leach, who's now at Mississippi State. Those are kind of the two guys that really, Hal started it in Texas, down in high school down in Texas, and then went to Iowa Wesleyan and brought Mike in, and then kind of progressed to Valdosta, Georgia, and then Kentucky when they were here. And then Coach Leach went his own way to Oklahoma and then Texas Tech and had that whole ordeal there. And then Washington State, now Mississippi State, and had a big win this week against Texas A&M. But let's kind of look at the basic philosophy of the run and shoot, or excuse me, of the air raid. So for the air raid, they want to spread the field out. And Coach Mummy always says, we want to throw it short in space to players who can score. Okay. They want to, most of the time, utilize 4 wide receiver sets. That opens up the passing lanes. All 5 threats, your 4 receivers and your running back are all pass threats. Very limited playbook. You're not going to have one of these deep playbooks with 30, 40 or, plays on it. It's not going to look like Coach Fisher's, what was it, Cheesecake Factory play sheet over there where he's got 17 pages of stuff. I mean, Coach Leach, if you look at it, he's using like the back of a napkin. The big thing for them is just reps. And again, Coach Mummy always says, you must have a great capacity for boredom because they're going to rep this stuff so much that it becomes second nature. And it helps having a limited playbook that you can do that. You're not having to, pick and choose what you want to get in that day when you've got a limited playbook like that. General position descriptions here. Now, is this carry for everything? No. There's always going to be some variation to it. Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma runs a version of the air raid that's a little bit different. They all kind of have their own take on it now. But if we look at the purest form, the quarterback must be accurate and make quick decisions. Doesn't require a super strong arm. These guys with a cannon arm that can throw it 70 yards from his knees through the uprights and all that stuff. You don't have to have an athletic, mobile quarterback, although having those characteristics is always, nice addition to it. It's not required. The big thing is being accurate in your throws and being able to make quick, smart decisions. Size as well doesn't matter. Yes, having a 6'5" quarterback's nice, but if you look at some of the best quarterbacks that have come through those systems, it hasn't been that prototypical guy. Your running backs are very rarely used in pass protection. These guys are going to be involved. They like to release all 5 out because that stresses the defense. They're going to be involved in almost all the passing concepts. They're not going to lead anyone in rushing stats. A lot of times they're going to have just as many, passing yards as they will, passing or receiving yards as they will rushing yards. Your X receiver, this is a prototypical wide receiver. If you think about a guy that's a wide receiver body and ability, that's that guy. The X is always going to line on the left side of the offense. This is a part of what makes this offense kind of go. They believe in position specialization. You learn how to run this route from the left side for the X. Why do I need to flip you over? Now you're having to learn from a different direction when you can get more reps running it from the same side. So you develop that muscle memory. The H is their slot. Whenever they're in a 2-by-2 formation, 2 receivers left, 2 right, he's going to be to the left in the slot. He moves to the right side. If they need to go to a 3-by-1, 3 receivers to the right, he'll move to the right side. And some of the early stuff with Coach Mummy and even some of the ones now, the H can move into the backfield as a second running back. But typically in the purest form, Mike Leach 4 wide, he's going to line in the left in the slot. The Y receiver, and a lot of times when you see Y, you think, tight end, hand down, big guy. Not necessarily the case with the air raid. This is going to be a bigger receiver a lot of times. Some athletic tight end types have played this role, but it still needs to be somebody that can run vertically and catch the ball. They're going to line on the right side of the ball, inside, but on the line of scrimmage. And he's always going to line up on the right side. And then your Z, again, is another prototypical wide receiver. The Z was Michael Crabtree at Texas Tech when they beat Texas that year. In 2-by-2, he's always on the right. And then if they want to go to a 3-by-1 look on the left, he'll motion over to the left side. But that's the general description of what you're going to look for in these guys. Now, let's talk about high school and how this relates. Of course, there's going to be pros and cons to every offense. All right. The biggest cons for high school, especially at the smaller school level, even though still at the big schools, not every school has 4 legitimate wide receivers to put out there. Okay. You may have 1 or 2 studs and then 1 or 2 guys that are, decent enough to start, but not the guys that you're going to count on. The problem with the offense is sometimes it's hard to get the matchups that you want because of the fact that the X is always on the left and the Z is always on the Z's outside right, and then the Y is always on the right. And you can't move your guys around as much without getting away from what the philosophy of the offense is, which is being very simple in the aspect of not having a lot of moving parts, but able to rep that stuff so that it's second nature. This offense is a progression read offense. What that means is the quarterback knows when they call a concept, okay, this is my first read, this is my second read, this is my third read. What happens is sometimes based upon the progression, you may not be throwing to your best guy against the best matchup because of the way the progression works. So it doesn't allow you to get to your best guy at times. And, of course, it does require you to have a quarterback that can throw the ball. Again, not every school has a kid that can effectively do that. This offense revolves around the quarterback. If you don't have a guy at that position, especially at the high school level, colleges, you go and recruit that guy. High schools, for the most of us, we can't do that. So, you're stuck making sure that you have a guy that can do that and trying to develop that up through your if you got a middle school that's attached or a JV program. The pros of the offense, limited playbook allows for easier learning. All right, especially for high school. A lot of time you got guys playing both ways. All right. The less that you have to have that 14, 15, 16-year-old remember, the better. Okay. So by always playing this guy on the left and he always has this route and this concept, it allows for those guys to learn it quicker, pick it up, and retain that information. The position specialization is what's really key in that, to where you're always at this position or that position. And then something that's not neither a pro or con, it's just a different way of doing things, is the fact that these routes are what we call static routes, to where there's not a lot of post-snap options for you. You're pretty much, if you have, a three-step slant, you have a three-step slant no matter what. And the reads of the quarterback will take them to who's open, not necessarily the receivers adjusting their routes to get open. Like we'll see, the week that we cover the run and shoot, we'll cover post-snap route conversions based upon coverage and leverage and how those are different. So I'm going to get into two of the more well-known concepts of the air raid. And what I'll try to do, if I have high school film of a team that I've done, I've ran this offense with, I'm going to show it. I'm going to try not just to steal everybody else's stuff. I want to show what we've done. So for us, this is the mesh play, 92 in the air raid playbook is what it's called. But everybody knows it as mesh. And that's because of this concept, this part of the concept right here. Now, this is the Mike Leach version. Hal Mummy has a little bit different version, but it's the same principles. But I prefer the Mike Leach version. So the progression for this is not the mesh. This is what we consider the check down. All right. And that's why I think a lot of people who try to run this concept mess up, because they think this is the primary when it's not. So what we typically teach our guys when we run mesh is we're going to look to one of these outside extra Z routes. These guys are going to run 10 yards and they're going to break this either deeper or flat. It's a little bit of a post-snap conversion, but they're looking to get to this grassy area over here. We're going to read which side has the loosest corner or which side matchup we like better. So if the corner over the Z is playing at 10 yards and the corner over the X is playing at 5, we're probably going to go to the Z side because he's got more ability to press that route vertically and get open. We tell our running back which side to run his swing route to based upon which side that we're going to read. All right, so if we want to throw this thing to the right, like this is drawn up, okay, he'd tell the running back, all right, you're going right. Now I drew him up in the pistol just to keep it even left to right here. So the quarterback's progression on this, he's going to read this corner route. All right, if he doesn't like it, he comes down to the read for the swing, which will be the underneath defender in this situation, okay? If he flies out to take away the swing, we immediately hit the front side mesh. If he sits in this window, we dump the swing, he gets up the sidelines, we'll pick up 5-6 yards, all right? Now let's talk about the mesh route itself, because this is where a lot of the magic kind of happens with this play when the outside isn't there. The right side will always run over, will always be on top. The H will always come underneath. We want these guys so tight that they can slap hands as they run by each other. We don't no space in between them. We teach to run the route at 4 yards. Why? Because if I tell a high school kid to run it at 4, he's going to run it at 6 or 7. That's just the nature of it. All right. But typically we want this route around 4, but no deeper than 6, between 4 to 6 yards. All right. As they're running across the field, they're looking at their partner. If his defender is in his hip running with him, he knows it's man coverage. We always run away from man coverage. So as he's attacking across, he sees man coverage, he keeps running his route. If he looks over and he sees nobody trailing his partner, now he knows it's zone coverage. We sit in zone. So as he runs over here, once they cross, he finds a hole and sits down, and he'll sit down on this side. So now that way when the quarterback goes from 1 to 2, now he comes back to 3 in here in the mesh. If it's man, this guy's running. If it's zone, he's sitting in the window. So we treat the whole mesh as 3. But really we kind of teach our guys 1 to 2 to front side 3, back side 4. In high school, if you're getting the 4, you've got an amazing offensive line. But it is what it is there with, most of the time we're going 1 to 2. So that's the mesh play, 92. And then the other play And this is out of the early formation, which is now the H has come over. This can be a 2x2 play, but I really like it out of 3x1. All right, this is Y stick. So outside has what we call a must outside release vertical. He's getting outside the corner, getting down the field. The H is running a 4 to 5 yard out cut here. The Y is running a what we call stick route. He's going 5 yards, turning inside. Backside slant, and we send the running back on a swing opposite of the trips. All right. What we're looking for here is what this defender does. Okay. If we get they're rolled down tight, we got 3 over 3. Okay. We're going to try to pick the inside shoulder of that defender. We're going to run to his inside shoulder, throw it down. If they're playing some type of loose coverage 2 over 3 with backers, we're going to sit in the open window and we're going to hit that wide receiver as much as we possibly can. It's a quick game throw. It's a catch and shoot. It's very, very effective. You can run this out of a lot of different formations. A lot of offenses can put this concept in, but it's a way to get your bigger possession receiver the ball on the inside, and it's a way to get the ball out of your quarterback's hands really quickly. So if you are having some protection issues, this is a catch and shoot throw. Your progression here is for us. This is I keep hitting that button. This is a pre-snap read. If we like it, we'll take that shot. The backside is a pre-snap read for us. If there's nobody in this window, we'll throw the backside slant. All right, and then it comes back to the Y and the H. Where are these defenders playing? Where do we have leverage pre-snap? So I will stop that. And now I'm going to give you guys a little bit of film. Any questions before I go to that?
Quick question for you. I know some coaches don't really care for left-handed quarterbacks. What's your feelings about that? And does it matter if he's left-handed or right-handed in this type of offense?
I don't think it matters. I know some people don't like left-handed quarterbacks because the ball comes out weird and it messes your protection stuff up. I'll be honest with you. I've always wanted to have a left-handed quarterback just to be able to, to kind of mess with teams a little bit, because it does for a defense is different. You're used to the defense's right side being the back side of the quarterback.
Right.
So it offers some advantages. I think I've never understood not wanting to have a left-handed quarterback. Now, I guess in the sense that most right-handed quarterbacks like to throw quick game to the left, just because it's an easier catch and shoot for them left than it is right. Although the kid that I had this spring and the one I have this fall prefers to go to the right. It blows my mind. But I don't think honestly what I think it is. It's a comfort for the coach, what he's used to calling, and as opposed to having to flip everything in his head, would probably be what it is. So I'm going to show this mesh concept. Now, the formation is just a tiny bit different. We adjusted it based upon the kids we had, and we ran this out of some condensed sets, but it's the same route progression. This receiver up here at the top, he's going to run the corner route. We're going to run the mesh with the 2 insides. The back is swinging to this side. We're running this to the field. And again, you can look here. This corner's playing at 6 yards, 7 yards. This one's rolled up tight. We definitely like this side. So as he takes off, if the corner plays under it, his eyes immediately come back. Do I want the swing or do I want to hit the front side mesh? So let's see what we have here. All right, right now, corner's dropping. We don't like it. Backer's kind of in no man's land. He's just kind of sitting there. This is our fastest player on the team at running back. Quarterback dumps it off. Ball in our best athlete's hands in space. We just picked up 12 yards, roughly. All right, one more time on this one just to kind of see. If you watch this backer right here, he's going to be the secondary read key. So initially, boom, we don't like it. He's sitting inside. Let's get the ball out in space. 10, 12, 13 yards on that play. All right, same play again. Now this time, we beat that corner outside. It was kind of a cover 2 look. So we had a corner playing underneath, safety playing over top. We got into the window. Outside throw.
So your running back actually did some blocking on this play, right?
Yeah, we had to check out. If you notice, we got a different kid in this week. This was 2018. All right, this was the last game of the year. We had some injuries, and this kid right here was an inside linebacker that we just moved over to kind of help with some protection stuff. And we went with a 6-man protection because we needed it. So we really were trying to get the ball out a little more vertically against these guys. We felt like we could, but we needed the help on the protection. Normally he would have been swung, but we had to keep him in. Now we did try to swing him here. Now you'll watch. Now we have a little bit of a mess up. The right side should be going over top, but the backer's getting away. So we make it work. All right. We have collision here. This isn't a pick. He's legitimately trying to run a route. This isn't him trying to set this up. It just happened that way. And that's why we like to have those guys run tight, because if there is collision, somebody's getting peeled off, and it's going to open up the receiver here. And we're able to get, again, another good pickup. All right. I believe this game is against Maiden. All right. Same play. We don't do a good job on the mesh, but you'll see up top, he's got leverage. And that was about a 17-yard gain. Again, we'll hit this outside, where he missed that throw.
How many seconds does your offensive line? How much do you expect them to block every play?
Realistically, we're trying to get the ball out in less than 3 seconds. I mean, high school offensive line, I don't expect those guys to be amazing. Get run over slowly is kind of like what we jokingly say. Just get enough time for our quarterback to get rid of the ball, which is why we like these throws, because they're quick progression reads that don't take a lot of time. That's why I said you can't get to that third, fourth one. There's no way. You can sometimes get to the third one, but typically the fourth one's not going to be in the picture here. So I tell our quarterback he's not going to have 3 seconds, because the 3-second number is what everybody always, quarterback needs 3 seconds. That's not going to happen. You got to get rid of the football unless you've just got an amazing offensive line.
So can I ask you a question right there?
Yes, sir.
So let's suppose the offensive line has given us our 3 seconds, and maybe the quarterback's been able to get to 2 or 3 reads, and then he's able to make a step out. How many quarterbacks you think in high school can actually get down to a 4th read? How often have you seen that happen?
The kid that you see in this picture right here was a sophomore, and he was actually our JV quarterback until we had injuries to our starters. So, and he picked the offense up pretty well. I think that obviously the longer you're in the offense, the more comfortable you are with it, the better you are. Early on, year one, especially in this offense, I wouldn't ask somebody to try to get that far down and through their reads. And really, in high school football, one of your first 2 reads is probably going to be open. If you're having concepts that are forcing you to go to your 4th read in high school, you probably need to scrap it and find something else that works better for you. Maybe I'm just not good enough a coach to teach that. But again, I don't think that at this level, most teams that you're playing don't have 11 guys on defense going to play in college football. So you need to find out where that weak guy is, where those, number 10 and 11 as far as talent, and try to exploit that and pick on those guys. Did that answer you a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the next one. This is why stick. Now, again, the difference is we keep our guys off. We kept our outside guys on just because it made it simple for us. But again, this is why stick. So we're going to run a vertical route here. We're going to run an out cut. He's going to run the stick route. This team right here is playing too high. They've got 6 in the box to take away our run game. So they're playing over 3 over the Y. He's 9 yards, 8-9 yards off the ball. So now our receiver here understands that. He runs a quick out to open this window up even more. So something we talked about, if they align like this out cut becomes really quick. Pull him out, force him to decide is he staying on you or the stick route. Our Y in this case, he's 6'2", 220. Big kid. Not the fastest, probably a 5.140. He just gets in the window, and then he's just a big. Same game. All right. Same play. We widen the formation out even more. We're on the left hash almost. We widened these guys out. Now we're outside the numbers, and this whole area right here is wide open. As soon as we called the play, quarterback already knew where he was going with the ball. It makes the progression a whole lot easier when you get a coverage like this. This is my favorite play from this spring.
No, that's just poor defense. I'm sorry. No adjustment. That's the
year beforehand. Sorry, this kid was 6'2", 170 pounds. And in that, layoff over COVID, that kid put on 50 pounds of muscle in the weight room, doing it on his own at his house, pretty much. And it showed off here. Yeah. The problem is we were hurting them so bad in the box with our run game that they did not want to pull somebody out, but they were afraid of us getting behind them. So they played too high. So when you do that, you're just trying to pick your poison at this point. And so which would you rather stop? Do you want to stop our run game? Do you want to get beat deep, or do you want to try to leave the slowest receiver on the field with some space? You just got to come up and make a play. I mean,
that's too much space.
If they make the tackle there, it's 4th and 2. It's too much space. But if they make the tackle there, it's 4th and 2. Now he makes an amazing play here and uses that weight room and gets in the end zone. I swear I didn't pick all these from the same game, but it was just they were the first 3 I pulled up when I saw it. 3rd and 5. All right, sits in the hole. There's your Y stick play. Simple play to just, I think it's the first one again. Yep. Very simple play, quick game. Ball gets out of your quarterback's hands fast. You don't have to worry about getting a bunch of pressure. I think that stopped sharing. There we go. You don't have to worry about getting a bunch of, quarterback getting a lot of pressure on him. You don't have to worry about taking unnecessary hits. It's a simple, really one read throw, especially if they're leaving that number 3 uncovered, which a lot of times teams will do that to keep the number guys in the box to stop your running game. And that's why I like the way Lincoln Riley runs his version of the air raid a little bit more than, and I'm not nothing against Mike Leach because the man's an amazing coach, but I think when you have a balanced offense where you force teams to have to defend the run game more than expecting you to throw the ball 40 or 50 times a game, that it opens up those quick game throws because they have to get into the box. So that's 2 quick concepts out of the air raid. Talk about positions, kind of the descriptions, what guys are looking for those. Next week we may go with the run and shoot, or I may jump into some Browse Baylor offensive stuff, or maybe in a little Gus Malzahn, whatever y'all want to hear, y'all let me know. I'll pull some stuff because I've kind of run a little bit of all that, so we can get a little bit of film for y'all and discuss some of those different things moving forward.
Oh, that was awesome. Air raid is becoming very popular. So
yeah, I mean, a
lot
of
linebacker down to your on screen to your lower right there. So he has to deal with this stuff. Left.
Yeah, those are tough offenses to guard.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're good. They can exploit you in a lot of different ways. But hopefully, I know a lot of teams are running it being effective now. So we'll see. But next week, y'all let me know what y'all want to hear, and I'll put something together for you.
All right, that sounds great. I know you need to get to your daughter, so let's let you do that.
All right, thank y'all. Have a good week.
Thank you.
We'll see you.